Hey, so it says we're live, so you know what that means.
Hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
Hi, guys. Yeah, well, that's going to be for probably tomorrow's show. We'll be discussing that. But today, I think the topic, we're going to have three videos. We're going to stop here, and we're going to hop onto another video, and then stop there and hop onto another. We're going to talk about three things.
But
and then
today,
and then some more, probably Friday or Saturday. But I put down IRS agent has more integrity than all of the Jehovah's Witnesses in Warwick. So when I was coming back to Phoenix from out of town, Jesse's like, "You need to get back to Phoenix, man, because this is a crazy news week, right, Jesse?"
Very.
Or Jake, I'm sorry, Jake. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jake Brooks.
Yeah, Jake Brooks. Yeah. And hey, so let me see. Go like this. No, the other way. Oh, you didn't paint your nails today?
Oh no.
Okay.
I thought you were like Dean Martin. That's 4.
That's true. That's true. So remember you saying about the what were you saying about the news and why I had to get back into town?
Well, it's been a busy. I know you're busy, and you're the member of the governing body. You've been impeached twice. The Jehovah's Witnesses tried to assassinate you 2 times, and they hate you eternally, and they're always ratting on you. They're always like, I heard Representative Grijalva. He died today, a couple of hours ago, and they say he's still doing shit tweets. He's still tweeting from the grave. He's a classic Democrat. You know how they always vote when they're dead? Now they even tweet when they're dead. And so all these people are attacking you all the time. All the Democrats always hating on you. And I know you need some time for rest and relaxation, but I said, you know what? Get over it. Come on back home. We got to report. We got to do the job that Jehovah's Witnesses don't do.
Correct. And I got my relaxation and I'm ready to go. Check this out. So share screen. Let's do it.
We're told not to.
told not to. What do you mean?
It's instruction from Treasury.
David describes his motivation on why he's doing this.
One of the reasons I'm coming out is I'm not afraid of losing a career. I'll fall on the sword if it means I can help the American people and help everyone else at the IRS who are doing their jobs. I want to set an example for my kids. If I get too emotional, it leaves something that they can aspire to.
Your kids.
My kids. That they know my dad did that, and I'm going to follow in his footsteps. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do what I can to ensure that other people aren't harmed, to protect others, to protect family, to protect strangers. Just do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Oh, it's a scary thing for people. You can lose your career over doing the right thing.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I had that same conversation today with somebody and talking about dad. And I was like, no, I will not shame my dad. I know dad's dad, but I will not go against mom and dad and everything that they taught us. And that's good for that guy. And so the whole point is this. This is what's happening in the news. Elon Musk said, if only you cared a little bit, if only the government workers would just care a little bit. And kudos to this young man who cares more about his country than he cares about his job. And look at all of the Jehovah's Witnesses in Warwick. They care more about their job, Jesse, than to stand up and say, shame on you. They care more about their job than talking about the disgusting policy of institutional shunning. They care more about their job than talking about the property theft of the Kingdom Halls after they've been financed with interest for 20 years. And Elon Musk was right. If they just cared a little bit. And here's this guy, Jesse, probably doesn't have a Bible in his home. I'm just saying, I don't know. And he's showing more integrity, more character than all of the people that put suits and ties and go to church Kingdom Halls.
Yeah. Look at Representative Grijalva died today, just a couple of hours ago. Our representative here in Yuma, all the way to Tucson. And he loved his job so much. He was dying of cancer. He couldn't love the state. He couldn't love the people and say, you know what, I'm going to step down. I'm a little bit sick. They love their power because that's all they have. And that's what the Jehovah's Witnesses are like. They're going to die like Representative Grijalva in power, in the seat of their power. They love their job as elders more than they love the people. You know, if Jesus was a Jehovah's Witness, he would have never accepted the cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. It's right there.
Oh, Jesus would have never accepted the cross. And you're seeing that everywhere. But listen, there's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses who said, no, not enough. We're surrounded by them all the time. Well, we'd rather lose our entire family. We've lost all our family. I've lost everybody in our town. Nobody will talk to me. Sometimes they even act like they're going to vomit when they see me, when we're at Home Depot or Lowe's. And I'm sure every single one of us apostates, we go through that. But we'd rather live in that hate than be associated with the Jehovah's Witnesses that harm people, that harm children, that harm families and break up families. But you know what? You and I talked about another dimension of this too. We talked about the elders and the ministerial servants and the circuit overseers. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about Joe Blow, Jehovah's Witness, and that IRS agent. He's just a run-of-the-mill IRS agent, and he's coming forward and telling how dilapidated the system is. I really think that the majority of the new Jehovah's Witnesses, and the ones I'm saying is the ones that are 50 and under, I really don't think they have any IQ. I really don't think they have the mental capacity to distinguish right from wrong when it comes to scriptural matters, when it comes to Christian principles. I really think they have been dumbed down the last 20, 30 years so much that you have a cult of stupidity. You have a low IQ. Can you imagine if you had an IQ of Maxine Waters, for example, or a Representative Jehovah, and then you put 1 million of them in one cult? That would be a low IQ cult, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a low IQ cult.
Yeah. And Jesse, so you know how, like when Jimmy Bell and Ruby, I'll always have to come in from a different angle. And so I'm going to come in from this angle, but not on the low IQ, but on Luke 18, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. To some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down on everyone else, Jesus told this parable. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, like the worldly people. Jehovah, I thank you because we're not worldly, even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week and give 10th of all I get. Well, Jehovah's one is, I eat free food at Bethel, and I charge 10% to all the kingdom halls. But the tax collector stood at a distance, and he would not even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Isn't it interesting, Jesse, that today in 2025 in the news, James O'Keefe is showing us that an average Joe Blow, just an average guy, has had it up to here. And he's, like he said, he's willing to lose everything because he loves the American people. And he wants to set an example for his children. And not one member of the governing body, not one governing body helper, not one circuit overseer, not one district overseer is coming out of Warwick and saying, look at these crimes that are happening in our church. Just kind of like that IRS guy. Look at what we're doing here.
You know what? In many ways, Gilbert, it could be said that we're living in the best of times, that we're living in the worst of times, but we're living in the best of times because the cream rises to the top. And what you're seeing all over the United States is you're seeing ordinary men who the world sees as not worthy of anything. Maybe this IRS agent. Look at the way the world talks about Donald Trump. And you're seeing people who are treated by the world as scum. We're treated as scum. But yet we're willing to sacrifice everything we have, like this gentleman saying, for his children. And so that they would have a better country. And Donald Trump is over there sacrificing himself so that what? So that waiters and waitresses could have no tax on tips. So that people that make $150,000 get to keep their voice. Look,
what about the reporter? What about the reporter in InfoWars that wants the young men and women to stop dying in Ukraine and Russia, and he paid for it with a bullet to his head?
Exactly. And you know what? In every neighborhood in the United States, in every Kingdom Hall, in every city, in every juke joint, there's Americans rising up, and they're waking up, and they're saying, you know what? I can dream big. We can make this. Because think about 5, 6, 7 months ago. Would you ever think that you would live in a day where people were talking about no tax on tips? Would you ever dream of a day where America can take possession of Greenland? These are big things that are happening. Now, they're open for debate, and they're going to be debated. But look at the big dreams. Our mom and dad never lived that they will live in a world where they wouldn't have no income tax.
And it's a possibility.
Look at all these millions of Americans who live their whole life hoping that there was going to be a 3%, 4% cost of living raise.
And now we're coming to find out that even if we don't get the elimination of the income tax, he's going to shoot for the first $150,000. No, I mean, we're having that conversation right now as we speak.
It's the greatest of times. It is the worst of times, and it's the greatest of times, because now this is the time that great men speak up.
Yeah.
Because for so long we just shut up.
And I'm glad you said that, Jesse, because that's on a positive note. So our Bethel Jehovah's Witness brothers and sisters, our Bethel, the people that are in positions of power. I mean, if you got to go back and read Luke 18, the tax collector, the words of Jesus Christ on Luke 18, chapter 18, verse 9, on the parable of the tax collector came true today, thanks to James O'Keefe. You Jehovah's Witnesses won't lift a finger, but you have your cozy little mansions in Warwick, and you're like, I'm not like those worldly people. Remember, I got counseled for using that word worldly too much in the public talks. Yeah, I used to look down on people. They were worldly, just like Jesus says in Luke 18.
Yeah, and you know what, Gilbert? The thing about that tax collector that works for the IRS, and he's talking about, he's really not a whistleblower, but he's just talking about the conditions, how they could be better. Yeah. And that's called a dangerous thing to do. Can you imagine? In the land of the free, home of the brave, we can't even talk about things without being called stupid and heretic and backstabber. Things that would save America.
But in that, he's also exposing the fraud, because they're doing Band-Aids. And so you and I know, Jesse, that if you're spending millions of dollars in Band-Aid repair, then you're not hiring the right people to fix the problem. Like in your trades, you bring in a contractor to do your job, and you pay him huge amount, 6-figure money, and not one temperature drop, 1 degree in the air, or one temperature rise. That this was bribes. I'm not saying that the bribes were happening in the IRS. I'm just saying that it goes back to the Doge, the efficiency. Here, this guy's saying we're spending all of this money on Band-Aids and nothing is getting better. So it makes you wonder if there's fraud involved in this, like payouts.
Yeah.
And in that, and even if it's not, like, you're right, it's dangerous. This guy's putting his life, even his family, at risk.
Gilbert, when I was a young man, and you would come to work when you were a teenager and you were real gung-ho, the older people would say, whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
And people would talk about the same thing with government workers. If you were to get a job in a government job and you start doing your job too efficiently, remember Kramer on Seinfeld? They even talk about it, that he delivered too much mail. Nobody had ever cracked the 50% barrier or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was a joke. But that's what the reputation of government workers are. And they're squealing like stuffed pigs when all they're being done is demanding that they perform a good day's job. We're not asking them to go to the battlefield in Ukraine. We're just telling them, hey, come to the office to work. My God, Gilbert, my God, think about that. the abuses of labor. Since the beginning of man, we have had a love of our labor. Jesus even said, "My Father works." We all love our labor, but there's a group of people here in America that are so evil. They think that they could stay home and get paid.
Mm-hmm.
These are the most stuck up, most. I'm short of words. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and I'm tying,
yeah.
And I'm just tying this. We're going to end it here because because we're going on to the next subject. We're doing a second video, but I just wanted to bring this out that how the Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah's organization here on earth, has less character than just an average, ordinary IRS agent, and that Luke 18, verse 9, the parable of Jesus Christ, came true today, thanks to James O'Keefe. Watchtower lists no finger to make the child sexual abuse cases come to light. They do not return properties back to the kingdom halls, and they do not reunite families.
Well, if anything, they're in on the take. Let me tell you why. And
go ahead and finish with get the last word.
Yeah,
no, you got the last word. Go ahead.
I'm going to throw you a curve, but today there was a story about this United Nations judge who was arrested in Great Britain on charges of having slave labor or labor that's not being paid for. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are always quoting the United Nations. Now, in all our videos, everywhere we go, I always talk about this. I beat it like a dead horse. But the United Nations does not leave the lips of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they're complicit in that. Now, they're complicit because the United Nations is the epitome of politics. So with the Jehovah's Witnesses talking about the epitome of politics, you think that they could give a commentary on the political things of the day.
Correct.
You think that when your country is being ripped off into oblivion and you're a 501c3 and you have a vested interest in the welfare of the government's treasury, that you would have an opinion on it. After all, you are a 501c3. You're not politically neutral.
Jesse, that's perfect because that leads us to the next subject. So we're going to end it here. And I just remind everybody, today was a beautiful day in the news because the words of Jesus Christ came true. And Watchtower, it was a perfect, in my opinion. This is
Are you gonna end this video right now?
So I'm gonna end this video, and then if you just stay on the live section, you'll see it, and I'm gonna send you the invite.
Yeah, well, that gives me time to go buy a coffee. I'm just gonna go over here and get a coffee at my office. In my office.
Okay, go ahead and go. And it's gonna be a great subject, guys. Go ahead and go, just because the subject is gonna be why does Watchtower not talk about the gender issue? You know how Watchtower is always asking questions. Will the Earth ever stop? Like, will we ever get rid of microplastics? Will we ever stop global warming? And they ask those questions. Well, why doesn't Watchtower ask, are there more than two genders? You never hear that, do you? So Jesse's going to talk about the two gender issue and the Watchtower on the next video. So see you guys. It'll probably be up in about 3 minutes. We'll go back live.